These gosh darn connection issues are seriously getting on my nerves. So, all right, hold on. Let me fix this microphone real quick. There we go. All right. So, welcome to another episode of Great Say Truth. Oh, come on. Okay. All right. I think we're good. And hopefully, we can keep a signal for a few minutes, anyways. All right. So, today we're going to touch on William Rail's video um, on strange investigations. That's on Twitch, I believe. I'm not sure if he has this on his YouTube channel right now, but we're going to go ahead and touch on that video. So, let me share my screen here. All right. So, I want to address the comments from yesterday that came from Crypt Rick, his video regarding the Crowley case. Okay. So, most of the people that came over here and decided they wanted to comment more than likely have no idea about this case. And if they do, it's very limited. They've heard things from Crypt Rick, or they've heard things from Greg or Dan or Kathy. Um, looked at the evidence themselves. That the Gray State guys asked to administrate their group. And he said, well, if you put your narrative up and it's true, and it's going to make me look bad. So no, I'll just keep administrating the page. So what does that show you? Honestly, I mean, if you think about it, Dan straight up said he doesn't want the truth on that channel that's going to make him look bad, or that page, because it's going to make him look bad, because the misinformation continuously put out this group of goons truth with the evidence, it's going to make them look bad. And so they don't want to do that. They don't want anything to do with that. They want to push the narrative that's going to get them views. And saying that David is guilty of killing his family isn't a glorified, um, interesting topic as it would be to say, oh, someone went in and murdered them, you know? So let me just say, for the people that are coming over here and commenting on my videos, what evidence have you looked at? Read the journal, unlikely what it is. And then we have this Planet X person who, because they did an interview with David, now they're like, oh, I talked to David a few times. Who cares? You talked to a guy who murdered his family. And you feel special? Do you need a freaking bozo button or something? um, seriously, like, it just cracks me up that on their high horse, oh, I have more Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, but who gives a shit? What does that have to do with the price of eggs? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You spoke to the guy told you about his film that he was working on and all of this New World Order nonsense, and that's it. He didn't tell you about his family life. He didn't tell you if he was having issues with his wife or, you know, anything. So why do you, because you spoke to the guy once, you think now you know the guy. You know how his life was. You know how he was behind closed doors or when he consumed substances. You sound like Dan and Greg, who believed that they were David's best friend and they knew his whole life story when they didn't know jack shit about the guy. So save your comments. I could care less what you have to say. The reason, and I'm not using other people's content, I am correcting the nonsense and the lies and the misinformation. And that entails using their videos to point out the misinformation. So, no, I'm not using people's content for gaining people because I don't want those lies put out there. I'm watching the video, correcting the lies as I go through it. There's a big difference. That's like a commentary channel. Anyway, so let's move on here to William Rail, his video, where he states again that David's feet were clean and there's no way that those blood footprints could have been David's. When we know for a fact that if you superimpose the bloody footprint over David's foot, it's an exact match. Not only that, nowhere in the autopsy report, nowhere does it state that David's feet were clean. Nowhere. It states that his toenails were long and well maintained. That's it. It says nothing about the bottom of his feet or in between his toes. Nothing. There is Nothing. So to assume his feet were clean when the rest of his body was covered in blood, his wife's blood, you got to be out of your mind. He also states in this video that David was killed second and Kamel was killed last. Well, first off, there was no mixture of Kamel and Ranya's blood, which we would assume that Kamel was killed before Ronnie. Okay, that's how that works. The blood mixture on the gun was Ronnie and David's. So how does that work? If Kamel was killed last and her blood was all over the house, David's fingerprints, David's palm prints, David's footprints in Kamel's blood, how in the hell was Kamel killed last? You mean to tell me David was walking around as a corpse? Or as Planet X believes, a full-bodied skeleton was walking around that house? Because to him, skeletons stay together without ligaments, muscles, and flesh. The absolute belligerent nonsense. And this is why police and investigators don't take these people seriously, because they don't have a damn clue what they're talking about. So let's listen to the nonsense again, because I've already pointed out in the autopsy several times on YouTube, on Facebook, that nowhere on the autopsy does it state that David's feet were clean. Nowhere. So, William Ram, stop spreading misinformation. Stop lying. Because if you're lying about a simple footprint, what else are you going to lie about? All right, let me make sure that my sound, okay. I had to hit system audio. There we go.
This, we're talking about fungal growth.
Okay, so he's talking about fungal growth in this video, and it goes through this whole process of fungus and how it grows and how it grows on decomposing bodies and so on and so forth. Candida, spores, things like that. And then it goes into hair, talking about hair and how hair's cut out, or hair is straight when it's cut out, or what it looks like. So, know that there was a wig in the house because there's pictures of Ronnie with this wig on. Okay. And we know that Kamel had long hair. We know that Ronnie had hair. We know that David had hair, right? So we have 3 decomposing bodies on the floor. We have hair all over the place. Ronnie's dolls, I'm sure, had hair. The wig that she had on in several pictures literally could have been anywhere, and the doll could have grabbed it. Or she could have had it on. We don't know. And so to sit here and go over something like hair that was found at the scene, oh my God, they should have tested the hair, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's no other DNA in that house mixed with the Crowleys. So why in the hell would you think you find hair anywhere? I mean...
Yeah, but it was much lighter colored than Kamel's and Rania's. Okay. So some things...
I just can't. Now, at the beginning of this case, I'll admit I mispronounced Ranya's name because I had listened to the Injustice Group's videos for so long. Um, and I know that over there they call her Renaya. Well, after 7 years of sitting and researching this case, and you can't say this little girl's name right, it just makes you wonder. You know, he just called her Rihanna. Her name is Rania. Ronnie for short. Not Ranny. Not Rihanna. I mean, it's just disrespect all around. This little girl was the one who had absolutely no say so. None in what happened to her. None. And they can't even get her name straight.
We have to actually take into consideration with that because, well, if you think about it with hair, why is that going to be valuable to
Because maybe it was a hair gun, like Kathy said.
an investigation? Few different reasons, actually. A, if you test it, you can actually see whose hair it is, right? Now, we can always just base on what we know about the person, we quickly glance over it. Sure, that's what a lot of investigators, I would argue, would probably do, just because it's hair. Generally doesn't have too much relevancy to a case. However,
Wow. So you just said that yourself, that it doesn't generally have, you know, a part in the case. Because the hair that's laying on the floor literally looks like the hair that's on these people's heads. And clearly there's animal scavenging all over this house. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
and I have to go back over the case files in this, I'm still thinking there might be something here, but I don't recall actually seeing any hair being tested. Now, I could have easily just missed that. I haven't been on this case as long as people like Greg or Sophia.
Okay, so if you read in the report, they talk about taking hair clippings from Kamel. Well, they didn't take hair clippings from her. They took pubic hair clipping because that's what was still attached to her body. But they took hair clippings, and it says that in the report.
Or Catherine, or even, or definitely not as long as Dan either. So,
if you haven't sat down and read the entire police report and looked at all of the pictures, how in the hell are you going to comment on this case, William Rail? How are you going to make matter-of-fact assumptions when you literally haven't even read the entire police report? That's my question. How can you make an assumption about something when you haven't even read the report on that particular thing that you're talking about? You literally just said, I don't know if it was in the report or not. So how are you going to sit here and assume and talk about it if you haven't even read it in the report? How does that work? Because you're this matter-of-fact guy who claims to be better than everyone else and claims to know more than everyone else. But yet, I pointed out on several occasions that nowhere in this report, in David's autopsy report, does it state that his feet were clean. Matter of fact, let me pull that up real quick. I'm sitting here going through it. So we're going to pull up the entire autopsy report here. and we're going to read it. Now, let me share this screen here real quick. Now, be careful, Rail, because I'm going to make you look like a fool again. All right, let's start here. A medical examiner's identification tag is attached to the body bag and is labeled with appropriate case identifying information and recorded physical features. Positive identification is made by comparison of ante-mortem and post-mortem dental radiographs, as well as comparison of tattoos on the body with ante-mortem photos of the decedent provided by the Apple Valley Police Department. The body bag is sealed with a yellow locking zip tag bearing the following handwritten information: 15-0366 1/18/2015 0058 JSL and CSO. External examination. The body is that of a well-developed 70 inches long, 128-pound male. Lividity and rigor are absent. Lividity is put in to autopsy reports from the original spot that they died in. Because if the body had been moved, there would be lividity in the body. But because there was no lividity or rigor present, that proves that they weren't moved. And that's why they put it in the autopsy report. So that way you'll know, hey, there was no lividity present. He wasn't moved. He is where he died at. The body is cool, refrigerated, which also proves and takes away lividity. Early to moderate decomposition is evidenced by skin discoloration, marbling, slippage, blistering, and mummification of the left hand and feet. His feet were mummified. Mummified. You understand? Right here. Post-mortem animal scavenging is evidenced by the absence of the majority of the head and neck, apart from the posterior calvarium and overlying scalp, posterior neck skin and soft tissue and cervical spine, and absence of the right hand. It says here, this is why post-mortem animal scavenging is evidenced. That's why all of these things were missing from the body. So read that really well. The posterior scalp is intact with patchy, short brown hair. Fragments of skull and additional small bones recovered separately from the body at the scene are described in a separate section below. See internal evidence. That means all of the other bones that were around his body were put in a bag and sent with his body to the medical examiner. The chest is symmetric, the abdomen is flat, the genitalia are those of a normal adult male with pubic hair in a normal distribution. The back, buttocks, and anus are remarkable. The left hand is initially sealed in an evidentiary paper bag. So the hand that was still attached to his body, they put it in a bag so that way it wouldn't be contaminated when they put him in the body bag. And we're going to show the reason here in a second. The upper arms and forearms are symmetric. The right hand is absent. The distal right forearm shows intact, smooth ends of the radius and ulna, and irregularly contoured soft tissue, muscle, and skin. So we have here smooth ends of the radius and ulna. Do you know what that is? Okay, your wrist, your arm bone, and your hand are three separate entities. Your fingers Actually, the finger bones are three separate entities. So if you take away the flesh, you take away the muscle, the ligaments, all of that stuff, you have bones. Okay. And when a body decomposes and it doesn't have that blood flow to the flesh to keep it intact, it's easy to pull off. Okay. So if the dog grabbed a hold of the arm after it was decomposing, it would have fell right off. Think about, and this is kind of a crude sense, put a whole chicken, okay? Take a whole chicken and put it inside of a crock pot and leave it to cook. The meat falls off the bones fall apart, and it would no longer be the skeleton of a chicken. It would just be a pile of bones and meat, right? So humans kind of work in the same manner. It's flesh, it's meat, it's skin. Everything breaks down after a period of time. Like your body's eating itself. It's consuming itself. So it's hard to explain, but that's what happens. And the bone, for people to say that the hand was cut off or whatever, is wrong, because you're going to have smooth ends of the radius and the ulna if the hand is pulled off by the dog after the body was starting to break down. Do I see the dog pulling the hand off right after they died? No, I don't. Because you still have that, you still have the skin that hasn't broken down. You still have the muscle that it takes, some time to break down. But I do see it happening afterwards. So, Paleo could have tried to bend and get their attention and, pulled on the arm and it came off with Ronnie, and or pulled on the hand of David and it came off. So it is possible. It is possible. And irregularly contoured soft tissue, muscle, and skin. What does that mean? That means that just like chicken skin, if you leave it sit outside and then you pull the leg off of the body, the bone on the inside is going to be smooth, but the skin and the meat and things like that are going to be irregular. It says the left hand has intact digits and is partially mummified. Now listen, the fingernails are short and well maintained. Dried drips of red, brown, blood-like material are on the dorsal left hand between the thumb and the first finger. The lower extremities are symmetric and intact. The toenails are long, but well maintained. And that's all it says about his feet. That's it. So, we have dry drips of blood on the left hand between the thumb and the first finger, which is very well found. I'm trying to think of the word. It's very likely found on people who commit suicide in that manner. Okay. If you look up studies of suicides and where blood is, and you look up past cases of people that have committed suicide, and you look at their autopsy reports, you're most likely going to find these dried drips of blood on their fingers or their hand area. That's what you're going to find it. And so That right there proves that it was a suicide. And that's another reason they put these things in autopsy reports, because the professionals know what they're talking about. And so when another professional or a prosecutor, or if it went to trial, the defense looks at this, they're going to say, okay, well, we have, you know, dry drips of blood between the thumb and first finger. We have animal scavenging. We have a right hand that's missing. Different small things like that. They're going to know what they mean. The lividity. There's no lividity. So we know that means the body wasn't moved. And there's drips of red, brown, blood-like material on the hand between the thumb and the first finger, so we know it was a suicide. So those are things that are in reports that people don't understand, but they do hold a significance. They hold a reason why it's in the report. There's blood literally all over this guy, okay? It's on his clothes, it's on his hands, it's on his feet, it's on his head, but they point out the dry drips of blood on the thumb and first finger. Why is that? Because it proves it was a suicide, and it is found in other suicides. Lividity. We know that, bodies fall where they're at. Sometimes they move, gas build up. People sit up after they die sometimes. I mean, literally people who work on dead bodies have said that before. But there was literally no lividity in this body, which means he was never moved at all. Again, it says here that his feet were mummified and that his toenails are long but well maintained. If you go through the rest of the report, it just basically talks about the tattoos here. It talks about what he had on. Talks about the internal evidence. This is the bones that were found. It says examined separately from the body at the time of the autopsy from a sealed brown paper bag labeled with bone fragments near 150366 are multiple fragments of bone and hair. A maxilla with well-preserved natural teeth showing no metallic restorations is present. So Dan asks in his video, where's the teeth? Well, they're right here, dear. And we know that there are different teeth scattered around the area because there's pictures of them. A single tooth. So there's teeth. And we showed that picture yesterday. So if you want to see that, you can always check the video that me and Louise did yesterday. It says the remaining bone fragments are irregular and of an identifiable origin or consistent with phalanges. A tuft of short brown wavy hair is also present. So we have irregular and unidentifiable bone fragments. They literally could have blown off of the skull when he shot himself. It could have been bones from the hand that the dog chewed on. It could have been anything. And it says on the left parietal scalp, centered approximately 9 inches above the left shoulder and 4 inches left of the posterior midline, is a gunshot wound consisting of a 2 by 1 centimeter ovoid effect with irregular edges. So, kind of consistent with someone shooting themselves in the mouth or under the chin, shooting at an upward angle. So, if you put yourself in this position on the floor, sitting up where David was found lying down, and you look up where the gunshot was in the ceiling, it matches. It matches. I haven't done a superimpose of that yet. I don't really want to because I don't want to include bodies in any of my videos because it's just disrespectful. I may superimpose it away from the camera and then just kind of make an outline of where he was laying at and if he was sitting up and the entrance and exit wound of the bullet. And to explain why the gun was found on the left side of his body, and I've explained this in several videos, most of the people that shoot themselves in the mouth or under the chin, they use two hands, okay? And the force from the gun is going to throw the gun to either side. You don't know which side that gun's going to land on because it's in both hands. And it's literally the force. You have no control over that gun once you shoot yourself. None. So to say, oh, it's on the left side, there's no way David could have done that, that's wrong. Because the force from the gun is going to force it to either side. And I've heard people say, well, the way he was laid out, there's no way. No people die like that. Well, I didn't know there was a fucking way to die now. Like, I didn't know there was a position that you had to die in. That's ridiculous. But if you think about, okay, you have this gun in your hand and you shoot yourself in the mouth or under your chin. You have both hands on this gun. The force from the gun is going to push the gun backwards away from you to your left or your right. And the force from the projectile, as well as the gun, is going to push your hands outward and backwards. So the main heavy part of his body went backwards and his arms flew out to the side because you have force. Okay? You have force working against you. If you've ever shot a gun, you know what I'm talking about. You know how much force is behind when you shoot a gun. Even small guns, still have that force to it. So to say, oh my God, he shouldn't have died like that. Well, if he's sitting on the floor and he blows his brains out with two hands, the force of that is going to force his hands out to the side. So, but some people just don't have that kind of common sense to think out the box. They automatically assume, oh, well, he was right-handed and the gun was on the left side. There's no way he could have done it. Well, bullshit. Just saying, that's bullshit. All right. So anyways, we're still going through the autopsy report because I still haven't seen anywhere on here where it says that the feet were clean. Anywhere. We're at the head. Absence of the brain apart from the scant liquefied material, majority of the skull due to animal scavenging is previously described. Skull fractures of the remaining bones are previously described. Neck, absence of the skin, soft tissue, muscles, hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage and other structures. Tongue, larynx, proximal trachea, and thyroid due to animal scavenging is previously described. Musculoskeletal system. The skeletal muscles are tan pink, soft, but of appropriate bulk for body habitus. The bony skeleton, apart from the previously described skull injuries and artifact due to animal scavenging, is intact and normal. The ribs, sternum, and vertebral bodies are visible and palpably intact. Body cavities. Green-brown decomposition fluid is in the pleural, pericardial, and peritoneal cavities. The organs occupy the usual anatomic positions. Respiratory system. cardiovascular system, liver and biliary system, spleen and hemolytic system, pancreas, adrenals, gastrointestinal. Documentary photographs were taken, specimens retained for toxicologist testing, liver, blah, 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 and nothing about clean feet. Damn it. I'm still looking. I don't see anything that says anywhere. I don't see where it says clean feet. I see mummified, and I see toenails are long and well maintained. Anywhere. It does say that there is dark green and red stains and numerous short white hairs on his pants. It says there's dark green to red stains on the collar and the left side of the shirt. It says there's dark green and red stains on the collar, sleeves, and middle to left side of the other shirt. So there's blood everywhere, all over this guy. Nowhere does it say on here that his feet were clean. Nowhere. So, William Thale, you are giving out false information. Again, and I said this before, I pointed this out before, and I commented on it before. You got that statement from Sophia. And Sophia, you're giving out, do you see how that works? Okay, do you understand now why our group puts our videos out and has our page? That's the reason why. Because Sophia says that the feet were clean. And so William Rail pops up on his channel and he says his feet were clean. And then somebody else listens to William Rail's video and says his feet were clean. But nowhere in the police report does it say that David's feet are clean. Nowhere. But that's why people are pissed off. Because one person is all it takes to put out misinformation, and somebody else runs with it. And this is a perfect fucking example of that. Sophia says in the big interview roundtable discussion that no way that those footprints could have been David's, because it says in the autopsy that David's feet were clean. And that's what she said. So William Rail, with his shoddy attitude, thought he was right. And he said, sorry, you're wrong. David's feet were clean. Show me in the fucking report where it says his feet were clean. Show me. Because, again, perfect example of how misinformation gets spread. David's feet are clean. Now we have William Thale hopping up. David's feet were clean. Even though he's been told to look at the autopsy report, and nowhere in that autopsy report does it say David's feet were clean, but he is still running with that motive that David's feet were clean. So there's no way that those footprints could be David's. Even though we know, nowhere in this report does it say his feet were clean. Now, let me go to page here and show you guys the superimposed video, because I have that on my channel. I think it's on this one. It might be on the other one. Where's my shorts? Okay, here we go. So, where are you? That's weird. Okay, I think it's back here. Okay, here we go. So, here's the footprint. Right? This is one that I did a few months back. So I used the superimposed application. And there's a picture of the bottom of David's foot in his journal that he took. And there is the bloody footprint on the floor. Now, if you put these two together and you superimpose them on top of each other, there's no denying that. So I'm turning the opacity up and down. You have the bottom of his foot here. And then you have the lines. Look at those. Like, tell me you can't freaking see that. Tell me you can't see that. Anywhere at all, say, clean feet. Nowhere. Nowhere in that damn autopsy report does it say clean feet. Nowhere. So William Real, again, you're full of shit. Let me see. Get back to this video here. Share audio. I can't forget to clip that because I do it all the time. All right.
I know. I'm pretty sure it was Greg and Dan that have been on this case the longest, if I'm not mistaken. But that being said, today we're gonna just go over some things like hair clippings, and we're gonna go and take a look. So
The shit that this guy looks at just cracks me up. Like, let's look at hair clippings, even though there were wigs and dolls and toys all over the floor too.
This is what it looks like to have cut hair. Now this is what it looks like if the hair is just ripped out.
Oh my god, there's hair scissors. Wow, look at those. Kind of resembles that hair gun that was on the floor.
Okay. Is it possible for a dog to completely do that to every single hair? Technically speaking, yes.
Yep.
There's no 100% certainty in almost anything in life, right? Other than you need oxygen to survive, right? As a human being, you need oxygen to survive.
Well, we
So
know that,
100%. You need
genius.
that. Okay. But things that are not 100% certain. When you cut hair,
He had to stop and think about that one.
it's all going to come off even, right? Well, yeah, it's not 100% certain. Even when you're cutting it at a specific angle, is it
What in the Jesus is he talking about? Here, if we cut hair and we get a straight angle, it's going to be straight. It's not 100%. Like, you need 100% oxygen. The fuck is this?
all going to be perfectly even? No.
Oh God.
You know, I can go and even. I've had some damn good haircuts, and there's been spots that haven't been 100% even. Why? Because it's kind of one of those things you get the eyeball, right? No, another thing.
So what does that have to do with the Crowley case? What does your narcissistic damn good haircut have to do with 3 dead decomposing bodies on the floor? What does that have to do with it? I mean, I guess I'm lost.
When a dog bites onto something with fur or hair,
Mm.
it's going to rip it out by follicle. It's not guaranteed to do that. However, if it's trying to yank it out, is it going to? Well, is it going to rip some of them out? Yes. So, that's something we need to take a look for.
What's
Are we
the
seeing
point?
any hair follicles? Now, we don't know when Paleo had alleged, or whenever the alleged scavenging had happened. Okay, we don't know when that occurred. We don't know, was this early on or was this later on? And the reason that matters is because, well, as we've discussed plenty of times before about the bodies, they start to break down. They become squishier after a certain amount of time.
Squishier?
Okay? And it doesn't really take all that long. Now, that is one part we need to look at. Now, this is where things get a little interesting too. And I'm going to see if we have enough time to get into this. So, we have 3 things we're really going to be discussing.
You've literally wasted like 5 minutes talking about fucking hair clippings and how you had a damn good haircut and that the I guess 100% oxygen is relevant to 100% of a dog pulling out hair.
The hair looks like it ties to Rhaenyra or Camille, most likely to Camille.
Ranya. You have called that child 15 names in this video already. Rihanna, Rania. It's Ranya. For the love of God.
Right? So, that being said, then we have to think about, okay, well, what about David? How did he allegedly get this blood into this container so he could paint? Well, we know there's no...
Oh, God, here we go with the container again. Okay, there was blood on the couch. When blood dries, it separates from the plasma and sometimes becomes transparent. We're talking about a couch here that absorbs things. Okay, wasn't a leather couch, wasn't a pleather couch, it was a cloth couch. And we know cloth absorbs things, right? So does the scarf that was laying on the floor that was full of blood beside David. So one could assume that he didn't use a container, but he used the scarf. Pretty self-explanatory there. And if the blood was already in the scarf, like sopping wet in the scarf, all he had to do was, squeeze it out on his hand or rub his hand on the scarf, or hell, he could have even put his hand, on the inside of the cloth and wrote it on the wall. Pretty simple to say, No
pool of blood.
There's not going to be a pool of blood weeks after, for the love of God. There's not going to be a pool of blood. Blood dries. It separates. Okay? That's why they have to use chemicals sometimes to find blood, because it turns transparent.
So he couldn't have just been getting off the couch and bam, 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 going back and forth. There was blood on his footprints, allegedly.
Oh, here we go. He doesn't believe that those are David's footprints. Here we go.
Am I buying those are actually his? No, not really. Because his feet were clean.
And again, William Rail, where in the autopsy report does it say David's feet are clean? Where? I'm waiting on that, because I've mentioned that on your channel. I've commented it on your channel. I've commented it on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. And you're still running with this same damn narrative that Sophia gave you. So congratulations, Sophia. You have passed on misinformation, and someone else has ran with that misinformation. Now, someone else who comes along later on who wants to know more about this case, and they come across William Thale's videos, are going to say David's feet were clean. And then the lie continues. And that's how all of your guys' shit works over there on the Injustice Group. One person it takes with this misinformation, and you run with it. Somebody else runs with it. Then somebody else runs with it. And then that is the result. We have William Rail here saying that David's feet were clean when there's There's literally nothing in the autopsy report that states his feet were clean. Nothing. It says they were mummified and that his toenails were long but well maintained. That's it.
On top of that, then we also have the whole thing. Well, he's missing one hand. What about his other? Did he literally wipe off his hands? And then I'm guessing what the narrative is going to go and state with this is they basically, or at least those that would say that David did this, that he wiped his hands off and he threw them in the toilet. Well, we already know at the toilet. They didn't say anything necessarily. Was there?
There's no info out that says that. Nobody has said that. Not a soul has said that he wiped his hands off and he threw it in the toilet. There's nothing in the police report that says that at all, whatsoever. Nothing. Oh, for the love of God. Do you want to come on, Louise? This is too much fun. I'm William Rail, man. He is just this big, I think I'm hot shit passing around this info. You want to come on? I can send you the link.
Was there a smell of urine in the home, right? It's got that metallic kind of smell.
God.
You can definitely...
We have 3 dead, decomposing bodies. And the smell of that is overwhelming. So you honestly think they're going to stop to say, is that pee? Is that dog poop? Oh, it smells pretty metallic in here. Like, seriously? The smell of the decomposition was overwhelming. I highly doubt that they're worried about the smell of urine when they walk into that house.
They smell something. Well, we know about any dog urine. They didn't talk about any smells like this. And these are things normally brought up into an investigation.
Yeah, let me send you the link real quick. Hey. All right. I'm going to put it in the chat. There you go. And anybody else that's watching, if you want to come in and say something and contribute, you're more than welcome. But yeah, let's keep on. As soon as you hop on, I'll let you in.
Especially when they go to see the toilet, there will be a smell. Now, if it's blood, that's going to have a different smell on top. But we also got to look at the toilet.
Yes, because they're going to stick their fucking noses in a toilet and smell for blood or urine when they have 3 decomposing bodies on the living room floor. Sure. I mean...
Toilet. Again. Where's the mold? Where's the mildew? It doesn't make a difference. This is a human byproduct. The only way this would be impossible for mold to grow, at least not very well, is if there was bleach involved. Now, if you look at how clean these toilets are, or this toilet is, where's the mildew?
Mildew isn't always visible. Okay, hold on. All right. Crap. Where'd it go? All right. Let me scooch this screen over real quick. All right. So if you Google, shit, my phone is okay. I think my medication is done. Nope, not yet. All right. So if we go over here and we look at is mold always visible? Well. Here's our answer. And I believe William Rowe actually uses this exact picture in his video. And it says, mold isn't always visible. If you can see mold, it's only a sign of the real potential health risk. the unhealthy levels of harmful types of mold in the air of your home or workplace. Airborne mold is all around us in both the outdoors and indoors. Is mold always visible? The answer is an emphatic no. In fact, the need to hire an NJ mold testing service like Certified Mold Testing stems from the fact that mold is not always visible to homeowners. We're talking about a fucking toilet here. Okay, here we go. Mold isn't always visible. Mold isn't always obvious. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here that mold is not always visible. Are there?
I'm in.
This is crazy.
Yes, I've heard a
he's
bit
like,
of that.
mold. Where's the mildew? It's in the toilet. Like,
Well, I think isn't he saying, like, in one of the autopsy reports they mention that there's some, like, sort of mold due to the decomp, but it's only on, I can't remember which.
well, he's
one,
saying
if it's-
that there was mold or something on David's body.
Well, you know, like, you've got loads of biological germs
Yeah,
and
he's
dampness.
decomposing. Of course, he
Yeah,
has fucking mold on him. Anything that is decomposing is going to have, you know, mold and things on it. But we're talking
Yeah.
about a paper towel that's sitting in a toilet. And I know for a fact because I have 2 bathrooms in my house. And the back bathroom doesn't always get as much attention as the front bathroom.
yeah,
And so if one of the kids go and use the back bathroom because somebody's in the front and they don't flush the toilet, like sometimes I
Yeah.
don't get back there. And so that toilet paper sits in the toilet along with whatever they did
yeah,
for a week or 2, you know? Like,
yeah.
I don't go back there that often. I mean, we just don't use that bathroom very much.
It's
Unless
the
somebody's
emergency bathroom.
yeah. And like there's no trees growing out of my toilet back there. Like there's no mold, there's no spores, there's no nothing. The toilet paper is like discolored because of the urine, but I don't see any visible mold or anything like that growing in the toilet.
No.
So, like, that would be something you would have to experiment yourself, William Vale.
Well, he's talking about the hair thing as well, saying about looking for hair follicles. Well, a hair follicle is in skin, and the
Yeah.
root goes into the hair follicle. That's why people get folliculitis, when there's inflammation of the hair follicle. So you're not going to see a hair follicle on the end of hair that's fallen out with decomposition, or the dog's been stood and sat and lain by the bodies, by the heads. It's got blood in the hair. It's going to stick to him because as it starts drying, it gets tacky. And then when he decides he's going to get up and move, a chunk of hair could come away with him. And depending on the quality of hair, because there's the hair colour box in the bin. So if we're to assume that Camille had chemically treated her hair very shortly before this happened, chemical treatments damage hair, so your hair becomes brittle and things. So it's not as straightforward as he likes to make out, and you know, he probably doesn't even know the first thing about hair. Let's face it, a lot of men don't.
Just bringing up the topic about hair is just ridiculous. I mean, it kind of ties in with their hair gun theory. What does hair,
Yeah.
you know, we already know that there's 3 people on the floor dead. We already know that, you know, their hair's all over the place. We know that there's pictures of Ronnie wearing a wig. We know that there's toys and dolls and things like that. So stuffing is mixed in with this hair. Like,
Yeah.
so like to even make that part a big deal or to even put attention to it would be unnecessary and a waste of time when they could be
Clutching at
putting the
straws again.
resources somewhere else.
Exactly.
So
It's just a desperate attempt to try and discredit everything when they've
Yeah.
got no basic knowledge about things. I mean, you see animals that are on the side of the roadkill and they're
Yeah.
decomposing, and they look kind of, after a couple of days, it's like they're sort of melting, if you like, because they've
Yep.
sort of sunken in, gravity's pulling everything down, things aren't where they were, fur and hair are loose
Yep.
because it starts falling away.
Yep.
Well, each of these like hair follicles in the skin, and the little electronic pulses that are at the bottom of the hair follicles that are holding, like constricting that hair in, they've relaxed. Everything is lax.
Yep.
So there's nothing to hold that hair in as it's all starting to break down on a cellular level.
Yep. Well, then we have, what I was saying, that Sophia is the one who originally mentioned that the feet were clean, that it said in the autopsy report that David's feet were clean. And I said, well, that's how misinformation gets started, because we have, Greg and Dan and all of them saying these different things about the case with, David's feet being clean, or there not being DNA on the bullet, or, this and that. And someone else, all it takes is that one person to say the misinformation and somebody else runs with it. And this is the perfect example of that. As William Rail's been told in his comments section that nowhere in the autopsy report does it say that the feet were clean. It says mummified.
Does it say anything about them being clean or dirtied? It doesn't make any statement. It's an assumption. And his feet might have been clean, but he's been in a house with a dog, and dogs lick blood. It's known fact.
And he's been walking on a carpet. I mean,
exactly.
It's
it wears off. So, and if you really zoom into that carpet, you can see there's loads of blood. You can see like sort of trail marks of blood and spatter, and it's a mess. It's horrible. So to say, oh, that it doesn't exist, there's not enough, it's baloney.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They want to assume. I guess they're thinking they want to see pictures of these pools of blood everywhere, like they were just shot. Like that's what they want to see.
They want to compare to the movies, but everything for the movies is like over exaggerated for cinematic impact.
Yes, they want to see these pools of blood. They want to see, the guts everywhere. That's what they want to see. But we're talking about bodies that have been laying there for weeks with a dog. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to find pools of blood. You're not going to find the red, blood that comes out as soon as someone is killed. You're not going to find that because you have a mixture of decomp fluids along with the blood. You have, chemical reactions from the environment. The dog could have peed somewhere in that area. Blood separates when it dries.
Yeah. When you have like a scab, when blood dries, you don't have a bright red scab.
Yeah.
You have like a browny kind of colour.
Yeah.
Scab.
I tell you what, one time when I was a kid,
if you pick it, you get all the like horrible weird plasma stuff.
Yep. I shut the door on my foot when I was a kid. And I'll never forget this because I still have the spot on the top of my foot. But it was a big metal door, and it came and it went across the top of my foot. And I remember the blood wasn't red when it came out. It was white.
Yeah.
Like as soon, like it didn't last for very long, but I'll never forget that the blood was white when it came out. So it just goes to show you that, like, because it happened so fast that it, like, I guess when the air hadn't hit it yet, so it hadn't had that chance to change. But the blood was white. It came out of my foot, and I'm like, what in the hell? So,
Oh my god.
yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, let me. But it's not always.
I can't hear it if it's playing.
Oh, did it? Okay, I forgot to hold on.
It's that little check
I
thing.
know how to
Yep,
fix
no
that problem now.
You do.
I know how to fix that problem now.
It's because I've come on partway through and surprised you.
Yep.
True.
I can hear it now.
Okay.
But my point with that though is still, even then, if that is what was in the toilet, which I mean I did bring up, I don't believe I said it was blood. Let me bring this up real quick.
Oh God. Nowhere in the report does it say that that was blood that was in the toilet.
No.
Nowhere. In fact,
Give
it
me a
doesn't even
second.
look close to
We're
blood.
gonna go and look at this quick.
Could it have
infographic I
been?
made.
Maybe, but it doesn't look like it to me.
No. No, nor
It looks
me.
like
So is it urine?
It's
Well,
like
the ABP
somebody
never tested
peed,
liquid
and
in
they
the
wiped
toilet.
their butt,
However,
they put
urine
the
does
tissue
in fact
or the
decompose over time,
paper
and the
towel
smell
in there,
becomes more
and that was
overwhelming
it.
during decomposition.
Yeah.
ABPD
It
didn't
looks
mention
like,
strong urine smell, so it can be a
someone that's not drank a lot of water. It's undiluted pee.
Yeah. Or like somebody went to the bathroom several times in the toilet.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
assume no. Is it blood? ABPD never tested the liquid in the toilet. So, however, blood, like urine, does decompose, but unlike urine, the smell is a distinct metallic smell. Yeah, okay, that's what I meant to say. And is not overwhelming.
Not if you've eaten
could be
asparagus.
What, I mean, my question is, like, he's picking these tiny little things in throughout the house. The hair.
Yeah.
The pee in the toilet, or whatever you want to call it. The phone calls, the text messages, like, he's nitpicking these tiny things that have no real what's the word that I'm looking for? No real like
Relevance.
relevance. Yes, thank you. I lost my brain there for a minute. They have no
That's okay.
relevance in the case. I mean, there's pictures of it, but there's pictures everywhere from everything. So it just means they did a thorough job in trying to, see what happened. But as far as relevance goes, and it having something to do with the immediate crime scene itself, it literally, there's nothing. There's no relevance at all.
Possibility due to the discoloration as well. So could that be blood? Could be. Paper towel or toilet paper.
But does he not think that the investigators know what blood looks like in a variety of states and situations and scenarios?
Well, I think it's just William Rail thinking he knows more than anyone. He's very...
It kind of comes across like that.
Yeah.
Very matter-of-factly without actually being factually.
Yeah. And that's the thing. He'll even say, oh, I haven't read that part of the police report yet, but here I'm going to make it a fact. Just like the autopsy report. Like, you could tell he hasn't even read that because he can't even get that right. So...
Water and has leaked a great deal of the substance that was on it initially. Is it likely that it's toilet paper? Not likely. Based on size and tear appearances, it looks like the paper towels seen around the house, which is true. You look at the size of it, it definitely looks that way. On top of that, let's see if I can zoom in here. If we look at this, where is the mold and mildew? There should be some.
Oh, God. So, it says right here, mold isn't always obvious, and sometimes it looks like a typical stain. This is because when mold rubs off a surface, it can leave just stain spots or patches. Different molds have different growth patterns, and some show up more than others.
Yeah.
So it's not
And then they do
always
spore
visible.
tests and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it even says black mold isn't always visible. Um, that's where's the mold? I don't know. Freaking, I think it's growing in his brain.
There's an area here. However, there's not. Which at that point you can also question things like, exactly, but that's the other thing. We already basically brought that up already. It's impossible for Kamel to have been killed first.
Oh God.
It's 100% that Rhaenyra was killed first, and then you also see mold on David.
It's
Oh,
not
God.
100% that Ronnie was killed first. And what does he make this assumption? Because the DNA evidence does not suggest that at all.
Yep. There's no mixture of Kamel and Ronnie's blood on the wall or anything else. So that would prove that, Kamel was killed before Ronnie.
Exactly.
And then we have David, whose fingerprints and palm prints and footprints were found with his wife's blood. So, and that's what I said at the beginning of the video. So I'm guessing that David was walking around as a corpse, putting his wife's blood everywhere since she died last. Or is it like Planet X says, and it's a full skeleton walking around the house?
I every
couldn't
part of the things that they come out with, it's like you've got Rail saying one theory and stating it as a fact. You've got Dan coming out with contradictions left, right, and centre, and another different theory. And Greg coming out with another different thing. Catherine coming out with a different thing. Sophia coming out with a different thing.
Yeah.
But yet they're all claiming that they're all the facts of the case. So
Yeah.
how can all these contradicting facts occur?
Well, and then that's the thing. I mean, William Rail is so tied up with looking at these things here, like the toilet, that he's not even looking at the forensic and the DNA evidence. Because the blood DNA evidence shows what order they died in. I mean, it doesn't say the time or how long in between, but you get a pretty good idea of how it happened with the DNA evidence. Between the mixtures of the blood and where the blood is and who the blood is on, you get a good idea of what happened. So to say that Ronnie died first and David died second and Kamel died last is just bullshit. Because if that was true, then, David's blood would be mixed in with Kamel's on the wall.
Exactly.
On the gun. Seriously, it doesn't make any sense. So
There's mold on him. So
sorry, William Thale, you fail again. You need to go look at the blood DNA evidence.
therefore, and there's more on him than we can actually see or hear about in Kamel. So, that being stated, the order of deaths, it's impossible for David to have done it.
No, it's not.
I mean, there's a number.
How is it impossible? How is it impossible?
Because he's looking at the mold or something.
Because somebody
they're
had
all
more
in
mold.
different parts of the living room. Some have got in the direct flow of the heat vent things, the air vents.
Yeah. So
you don't have a constant temperature in a house.
You can determine from the element in the house, from the environment in the house, the air, where the body was laying. Did Kamel drink more water than David? Did David drink more juice than Kamel? Did David drink that day? Did David take drugs that day? All of those things, when you decompose at the rate you decompose, the wound that you have, the environment of where you die is all going
What clothes you're wearing,
Yeah.
how you're laying, how much of your body is exposed to the air, how much of your
Yes.
body's clothed or blanketed, all going to have an impact.
Yep. So
And
to say
for
that,
someone who hasn't got like any sort of forensic experience to be trying to throw shade on those who have studied and are qualified scientists and investigators and deal with this stuff.
yeah.
And
Here, let's
it's
say that this person died first because they had mold on their ass. It just dumb shit like that. It makes no sense.
Number of things that would already show it's impossible, but by going off mold, 100%, David didn't do it. He was second to die. And third would be Kamel. But would Kamel actually done this? No. I think there was something going on here. I don't think
in
Kamel
that
did it.
warped mind.
Well, tell us what that thing is, then, William Earl. Since you're just so smart, you and Dan are just like the geniuses. We want to know what that is and where the DNA evidence points to someone else being in that house. I'm waiting on that.
So somebody comes in and holds David and Kamel hostage whilst they kill Ronnie in front of them. David, according to them, he's like, this. We know he had like self-defense and defense training.
Yeah.
And he's got his gun. And then they kill him, and Kamel has to watch. And someone writes Allah Akbar in Kamel's blood. But Kamel's still alive. There's no contamination, but these people have allegedly just killed David and Ronnie. They've not got a drop of blood on them. They've written on the wall, done all this stuff, traced around types, and they've managed to not cross over and contaminate any of the blood.
Yeah. And there's skeletons. There's full-bodied skeletons that are held together by air, walking around. We have... I mean, it's just the ridiculous stuff that they put out. It's like, where's your common sense sometimes? I mean, it may sound good in your brain, but once you put it out there, it's like, what?
Yeah, we should say, write it down in black and white and read it, and you'll see how it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. Not at all.
See, it brings her in the limelight too now. And the toilet is very clean. That's why I brought up bleach.
So they took the time to put bleach in the toilet, but didn't take the time to flush the toilet.
Yeah,
No.
and if they put bleach in the toilet, like nothing would be that dark.
We got to think, was bleach in the household?
And wouldn't the police have gone, ooh, it smells of bleach in here, not metallic piss?
Yeah, like they would have said there's a smell of bleach, or we think that something's been cleaned up with the chemical because that's what it smells like or looks like.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're looking for. The police know when they go into a crime scene if something's been cleaned up, if chemicals have been used. They know how to look for those things, and they think people are dumb.
Oh, how much? That toilet is pretty damn immaculate. And that's the part I want to bring up here. Is that this just shows there's a lot of cleaning going down right before this happened.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
based on everything this looks like, this was
Crazy.
definitely a crime scene that it probably started off with something that, a visitor or two or three.
Oh, God. Even though David wasn't letting anybody in the
He
house.
wasn't. He literally says in his journal that he wasn't letting anybody in the house. That they've locked
He never
up for
says
the
anything.
winter.
Never says anything about being fearful or people turning up unannounced and pestering him or
Yeah.
anyone like spying outside or anything. There's nothing like that.
Yep. It's literally David saying that I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not letting anyone in the house. Yeah.
Close the house up for winter.
Yeah. Oh, God. Let me grab a smoke. Give me like 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie.
Hold on. Yeah, I keep checking the time. My daughter has a basketball game this afternoon, and so I got to take her lunch at 2:30 because they have to be on the bus. So it's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
So I had to keep checking the time. My doctor changed my my medicine, so I went from very low dose of antidepressant / anxiety. Now I'm on Prozac.
Right. Okay.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
It didn't go well. Was there a struggle? If there's more people, the less chance of a struggle.
No defensive
But we can
wounds.
definitely
Yeah, you have no broken glass. There's vases that haven't been disturbed. The tree
No
is
bruising on the bodies.
Yeah. and,
No
and you
marks
honestly
from like
think
being tied up or anything.
a war vet, a soldier, isn't going to fight back if someone's trying to kill his family and doesn't want it to happen? That's my question. Like, do people think that David wouldn't have put up a fight? There would have been some
Exactly.
kind of hole in the wall or,
Yeah.
you know,
Broken
faces
things.
knocked over, things knocked over. Literally, everything is in its place.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Christmas tree hasn't been knocked over in
Yeah.
a scuffle.
The knickknacks, stuff on the wall, vases on the tables haven't even been moved because there's literally dust in the same spot.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's out of place that even shows a struggle. There's
No irregular blood patterns.
no defensive wounds on the body is the biggest thing. There's nothing. There's nothing under David's fingernails. If that would have been mentioned, Kamel's, Ronnie's, hey, we see, somebody scratched somebody or whatever. There's nothing. It's
Nothing at all.
It's clean, like William Rowe would say. It's clean.
Yeah.
Everything's
is
just
there was something moved
clean.
around. Oh, was this moved by the police or was this moved by other people? In my opinion, I believe it was moved prior. Now, is it possible Paleo could have just ran around and did all this? Yeah, could have. Do I think it's likely? No. I don't think Paleo did. Use this tiny little thing.
Tiny. I told you he's a bloody chihuahua.
Oh,
And
God.
a teacup one at that.
What the flip?
He's so tiny. He's the size of a tiny dwarf rabbit.
He's a mouse.
He's so
Paleo,
tiny.
poor guy, man. He can't win for losing. He's now become a tiny little thing. Man, I would love to see Paleo or like a sibling of Paleo's and take a picture or a video. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And just have it so I could say, here's this damn tiny little thing.
Yeah. And then put a little scale of the teeny tiny dogs.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's just.
Could he have knocked some things around? Yeah. But did he? We don't see any books thrown around.
You just said it, William Rail. There's no books knocked over. There's nothing knocked over. So if there was a struggle, don't you think that shit would have been knocked over? Genius.
You would have thought so.
We don't see toys ripped to shreds. We're not seeing anything.
Yes, there is toys ripped to shreds. There's a literal lemur that's like unstuffed and all over the floor, dude. Did I pick this damn video to go over today? Because I feel like I've lost 10 brain cells since I started watching it.
I think he was probably kept either elsewhere to a certain point, or he was kept in the house, away from the bodies up till a certain point.
Oh, God. Yes, because the people just decided to come in and put dog shit in random spots of the house, so that way it would look like he shit all over the place.
We don't have any pictures prior to the police actually doing anything with the house, right? We don't have any
Yes, you
pictures of
do.
that.
Yes,
You
there
have
is.
the initial
Because we
walkthrough.
don't know how much people had actually walked around in the snow. Or if they had just gone in through the front door.
It states
They
in the
didn't go in
police
through the
report.
front door, they went through the back door.
Yeah, it states that there's no fresh footprints. Like there's no disturbance. So
We don't know that.
yeah,
Deluded.
because it's in the police report. Read it. God.
So, but without further ado, let's get right into the hairs. The hair is an interesting one, and I have yet to really delve into it. So we're doing this live. It's going to be the same kind of reaction. Well, it's going to be a live reaction, rather. So let's get right in. So we're going to go look at the AVPD, because they had less photos, I believe. And then we're going to go through the BCA. So let's get right to it. And don't worry, we're going to go over things like outside the house and all this eventually. There are still some things I have not covered on this case yet, so we will go and cover those later. However, first things first, we need to go over
the gory
the
one
hair. Do you
first.
see any hair?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see some hair in a second, I believe. We also see a disturbed photo, or collage here. Could something have happened? Yeah.
A disturbed photo
What
collage.
the hell was he talking about?
Yeah. Oh God. Let me read.
Is that something that he's made or something?
Yeah.
What?
He said there's a
So let's get right to it.
disturbed photo collage because
And don't worry, we're going to go over things like outside the house and all this eventually. There are still some things I have not covered on this case yet, so we will go and cover those later. However, first things first, we need to go over is the hair, and do we see any hair? Well, we're going to see some hair in a second, I believe. We also see a disturbed photo, or collage here.
It's not disturbed. It looks like it's just the way it is.
Isn't he just
something have
scrolling
happened?
through
Yeah.
all the pictures?
Yeah.
And it looks like it's a photo of like Ronnie's room that he's hovering over.
Yeah.
What the hell? He doesn't even know what he's
Start seeing
looking
hair
at.
in just a second, I believe.
So I hate to break it to you, Rails. We've already got 2 videos about the
I
hair
don't think
up,
I've actually ever looked at this photo.
and it wasn't a hair gun. Is that the disturbing collage that he's on about? A picture of a baby.
No, he was talking about one of the picture frames that had like the different pictures in it, and it looks like maybe it had fallen off the wall when they put it back up. But the picture was kind of like moved to the side.
Oh, the pictures have like slipped in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I have picture frames like that in my house
I
where
do.
the kids have been playing or whatever and moved it, and because I didn't tape them to the back of like the cardboard part, that they kind of slipped down behind other pictures. Yeah, I that's normal.
Yeah,
That's a normal family thing.
yeah.
This photo here, I'm going to run this by, if we have time by the end of the stream, I'm going to run this by live. We're going to go look at that journal entry.
Yeah, it's not the same. The birthday is different, William Rail. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, he's
The
going to
date of
try and
birth.
make out it's when she was conceived or something.
Yeah. Conceived 5 years later. Miracle.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
At around, what, 6:35-ish?
Yeah. Ish.
Right. No, I totally agree.
Thanks. I'm glad
Thank
you.
you, William. I love when he agrees with us. That's just great. Oh, it looks like we have somebody who's made a fake profile and they've commented. And this is their comment. And I think William Rail's brain has spoken. Muff Zipperluch. Bomb
Oh,
red.
that'll be like it'll be like one of those spam bots.
Yeah.
It's probably best to delete it because it'll probably be a link to a porno site.
Yep. We're
I
gonna
think
keep.
Greg gets them quite a few times. I think it's just a weird like. It's not like anything.
Yeah, this
sort of-
is oddly not a link. It just says the name is Muff Zipperjudu. And the comment is bomb.red.
Yeah, just delete the link because it'll be for a porn site.
Oh, Lord.
I do like to find things live, so it we learned something together at that point. That's how I see it. All right, so we're not going to get a whole lot of.
You don't learn anything because when people have corrected your incorrect comments, you still run with the bullshit.
Hair photos from the AVPD. There is some though. All right, now where's the dog poop around here? None.
Oh God, Louise! Oh God! Oh Lord! Louise,
Yeah,
do you see the dog poop in this photo?
I've never seen any dog poop in that photo.
Are you sure? Like right beside that little yellow sign to the
Isn't
left.
that a toy?
That looks like dog poop to me. That has hair in it. That's why I was laughing because it looks like dog poop that has hair.
I've got a weird feeling it's like part of a toy or something.
Well, it may be, but to me, it looks like a piece of dog poop.
I have to get it like and zoom in on the what's it and have a look.
Yeah. What? Let me see what picture he pulled up. What the number was on that? Hold on. Crap, I can't see it because I just got the.
All right, now where's the dog poop around here? None. Now this, I have to agree with Dan Hennon. A lot of this looks like it could have just been cleanly cut.
Where does that look cleanly cut? It looks like piles of hair. And then we also had the pictures of Ronnie with the wig on. So some of the hair could be that too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it all is because you can definitely see there are scalp attached to some. But for the most part, this looks.
To me, I think the white piece, could that be a bone?
It could be some bone fragment, yeah.
I don't know why, but just like the longer piece, they're the two. You have the two small black pieces,
Yeah.
and then you have this long, like brownish black piece, and then you have this white part kind of off of it. I'm trying to see what that could be.
You'd have to
'Cause
bring up the pictures.
Yeah,
from in the BCA thing and find the one with the Surface Pro,
Yeah.
and then do a zoom, and that would be
Let me see if I can find that.
the best way to solve it.
Yeah. Because we all know that he's not going to zoom in.
And then no one can accuse of just, being
Yeah.
our opinion.
I mean, to me, honestly, by first glance, it looked like poop to me. It looked like dog poop. It looked like a piece of dog poop. So let me scroll.
Because I'm not sure if it's like a piece of like lemur and hair.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of things, sort of bits of things up there.
Yeah, I'm going through the pictures right now. So I'm going to pull. Okay, so let me show you this one. Hold on. And then I'll show you what I mean of why it kind of looked like poop, like the dog poop to me. Here we go. So here's this piece of dog poop that has the hair and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then if you look at, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find that one really quick. That's 39. Come on. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? I couldn't remember what number that was. I didn't even get to see.
Was it 40 something on there?
Hold on, let me scoot back on the video. Maybe I can see where he goes with that. Hold on. It's 0432. Hold on. The 0432. Hold on. Gotta look again. DSC. Yeah, it says 0432. Was that Apple Valley's pictures?
I believe.
Yeah, because theirs is like 0432 or 04s. Hold on. Let me go back.
I think BCA's all have like the BCA.
Shoot. BCA. ABPD. Okay. Yeah, there we go. He was on the ABPDs because we're at the zeros. 4, 3, 2. Okay, here we go. All right, can we see it? Shit, I lost it again. What happened? Oh, there we go. Okay, can you see it now?
Not yet, but sometimes it takes a second to catch up.
It should pull up. Okay, yeah, that is a piece of toy.
I can still see your the list of photos.
Hold on. Let me pull the right. Let me pull the right picture. There we go. All right, there we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a piece of the scarf.
Yeah.
So I was wrong.
Scarf and hair and fluff and
yeah. There's a piece of bone right
But
here.
it kind of looks like it's sort of, like matted hair and matted
Yeah.
scar.
Yeah. Well, from afar, that's what I thought it was, a piece of dog poop. Because it honestly looked like the one that I had.
And there's nothing to say that it could have gone through him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a piece of the scarf. I want to make sure I don't see any pieces of dog poop in here.
I don't think there was only that poop that was by the recliner. To me, from what I can remember, he doesn't really seem to poop that close to the bodies. Whether he was peeing around there is another matter, but all the poop seemed to be like in the basement and by the back door.
Yeah.
And then the odd bit dotted around in the stairs and bedroom.
We have this piece of the scarf. It kind of makes you wonder because, I mean, that was torn off.
There's a picture of the scarf. One of the pictures you can see that there's a tiny little part of the scarf that is still like black and white, and it that like gives you a clue as to just how blood soaked that scarf is. And those scarves, they're made of like a heavy weave. Right. They're really thick, so there's a lot of blood in that, and they're big. They're probably like a meter square.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go back to.
There is some though. Dog poop around here, none. Now this, I have to agree with Dan Hennon. A lot of this looks like it could have just been cleanly cut. I'm not saying it all is, because you can definitely see there are scalp attached to some.
Well, if it was cleanly cut, then whoever was cleanly cutting the hair would have to have professional hairdressing scissors, because you can't get a clean cut with scissors, with typical kitchen scissors.
Yeah. Or a knife, for that matter.
Exactly.
For the most part, this looks like this right here looks straight up cut.
Did he look for split ends?
Well, that could have been the end of the hair. That's why it's straight. I mean, oh god.
Ah, now we see some of David's hair.
Ah,
oh,
amazing!
Wow,
a tiny little
there
bit.
It is.
Yeah,
found some David hair right there. So we get some of David's hair.
You'll
here.
see it quite a lot around the place
looks
if you
like
look
it could
for
have
it.
potentially been attached here. This looks like that was scalp that had been attached to it. That took time to stick.
Oh god, get a grip.
Foul. Maybe some skull fragment here.
There's some spatter.
Overall, this looks cut right here.
No,
it
that was
doesn't.
probably the bottom of her hair.
Remember, she's got gunshot wounds to her head, so parts of that will have been blown away as well.
Yep.
Let me guess, he's going to turn around and start pointing out to us, this is hair from where the bullet wound was. That's not
what do you guys
cut,
think?
pulled, or anything. That's blown out.
Does that look cut? I'm going to go and zoom in a little bit more.
No, it looks like it
Really
could have been the
looks
bottom
cut
of her
to me.
hair. Could have been the bottom of their hair.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any hair follicles either.
Because you won't, because it's in the skin.
Wow, he's looking for hair follicles on a picture that's on the
piece
floor.
of hair.
On a piece of hair. Oh god.
Seeing scalp on some of it, but there should still be, if paleo was ripping, there would be hair follicles. And where are the hair follicles?
In the hair.
Clearly didn't study hairdressing.
And neither did Mary over here, who's commenting on this video. She agrees.
Oh,
Very, very interesting here.
not really.
Let's look at this one then.
Oh god. God.
Same thing. Anybody see any hair follicles? As I certainly don't see any.
How are you going to see a freaking hair follicle from that far away? Christ almighty.
Oh my God.
Is he looking for
It's
like a beach ball or something?
the hair.
Size
There's
hair
a,
follicles.
do you see the pinhole on that tire?
It's like A, you'd be looking for hair roots. B, you'd have to be up real close to see them. Unless there's something hideously wrong with William Rails and he's
Eh,
got some condition with massive hair follicles.
Yeah, no shit. This is a blurry picture. So how in the hell are you going to see hair follicles?
I mean, if you look in the mirror at your own hair, you can't see the hair follicle unless you get right up close
Yeah. Oh,
and see where the
God.
hair's coming out of. And if you pull a hair out, yes, you might see a tiny root, but you've got to be watching. You've got to look real close.
Long hair right here. That's what it looks like. I'm seeing a lot of what appears to be cut hair.
Oh, my God.
And he can tell that from that distance.
Yep.
Or is he just thinking it looks like something that you see in the hairdressers on the floor when someone's had their hair
Interesting. Let's
cut?
go back to the BC or the B.
I think
A pile
that's...
of hair on the floor.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. You have the hair that's attached to the head. And then at the bottom of it, where people usually cut their hair, that's probably what he's looking at. The bottom of the hair where it's straight and cut. Like,
Okay, take a look at their photos. I'll have to make another infographic for you guys for that for the
No,
hair.
please don't.
Hair
Because
mold.
it's not going to be true.
I gotta make sure I get infographics for that, and we're gonna bring them up on TikTok. That's how we're gonna
oh, Lord. Am I going to have to tear this guy apart on TikTok?
do it. I think that's a good idea.
Yes, it is, because I have like a pretty big following on TikTok.
You'll have to go and have a look at these hair
Yes,
videos that he's going
yes.
to educate you on.
That is off
You
topic,
know.
but I'm gonna still look.
Oh, Vidal Sir Rails.
Oh, God. Are we looking at a silk bottle here?
I see
We're digging through the
exploration.
Crowley's trash.
These officers did a damn terrible job. There's some new gum right there, it appears to be.
Oh,
It's a gum wrapper.
Plenty of bottles. They
so,
drink a lot
if
of
there was
Bud Weller
somebody
or,
who was going in there to kill them, do you really think they would have left gum with their saliva that has DNA in it
Yeah.
and a suspicious scene?
Yep.
a bit of a healthy drink. Eggnog.
Oh, this is where he stalks the hair product out. Looks for the
Hair
colour.
kit.
Let me just find it. Hair colouring kit. Da, 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 da.
Revlon Luxor color. Let's look it up.
Oh, God.
Can you guys see that?
What did he... Whoa.
Coloring kit.
Did you just say his search? Hold on.
No.
It said something about Dallas, Texas. Hold on.
Revlon Luxor color. Let's look it up.
Wait. Residential farmland for sale near Dallas, Texas. That's fucking scary. His other search records are reverse phone lookup, people search. So he's stalking people.
Yeah.
He's looking at residential farmland in Dallas, Texas, for the love of God.
He's going to have a pig farm.
I mean, that's pretty close to home. Eek. His other one is psychotic. What is that? Psychotic something revision history. Psychodanic something. But that's scary. You have a reverse phone lookup, people search,
Yeah.
and residential farmland for sale near Dallas, Texas, and a show club. William, what you doing on your free time? You going to strip clubs? Oh God, I'm gonna have to end this video because I gotta go get my kids lunch and get it up to the school before
No
they
problem.
go to their game. So we can come back tomorrow and either finish up the Dan video or we can finish up this one. These are fun.
Yeah.
I Dan is kind of boring. He's just like bland, monotone. But William Rail clearly thinks he's just like knows it all.
They're
And
both full of lies at the
he
end of the
put-
day. They're both spinning lies.
he puts that I know my shit type attitude, but doesn't know shit. It's always fun to pick on William Rail. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for coming in, hanging out today, even though there's nobody here. On the
I'm
Gross
here.
Truth and Louise are here. But thanks for hanging out on the Grace State Truth. You can like, subscribe, leave your comments down below if you guys have any questions about the case. You can always follow us and come talk to us on the Crowley Case Fact versus Fiction on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you follow Deep State Granny on YouTube as well. And we will be back tomorrow with another video. We're not sure what we'll do yet because it's day to day. Anyways,
Yeah.
have a great day, Louise. You have a great day, and give Ben a big
I will.
hug.
You too.
You guys get
Oh,
feeling
thank
better.
you.
And I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
Bye.